Good morning. It is me, Pearl, from Pearl and the Prayers, and this is Tuned In Tarot. And we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine energy inside of ourselves, understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see that being reflected back to us in our external environment or in our interactions with others. And if we want to see change around us, we really do need to shift the energy inside of ourselves and make those changes. And these readings that I have been doing for the last 2.5 years, the intention of them is to help you become aware of what your current energy is and know what you need to do to shift it. And for the last 2.5 years, I have been doing very large, full-length, hour to 2 hour deep dives into this energy, and all of that content is still available for you. But going forward, I am reducing the size of this reading drastically. And we are just going to be experiencing a much smaller check-in or tune-in. And if you want deeper information, you're going to have to either book a personal reading, or you can, of course, become a member to have access to the full-length Tell Me Everything readings that I do for members on Thursdays. Which actually is going to start being on Fridays rather than Thursdays, because I'm swapping some things around. So all of that is going to be on a calendar that's going to be available on my site, so you can always see when I'm going live, etc. That's under construction at the moment. It should be done in a week or so. Okay, I just said it. That means it will happen. Love that for me. Let's get a drink of coffee before we dive in. So every week I have you start up imagining right now, what do you think you need to happen right now that will make you feel better? Now, most people are here because they're curious about their connection with somebody. So a lot of times they immediately are thinking of something that would happen within their connection that will make them feel better. But it doesn't have to be. It can really be just kind of tuning into yourself for a moment. So taking a deep breath and just feeling out your body where the tension is, or maybe you feel very relaxed. Just get into your body for a moment, and then just really gently ask yourself, what would make me feel better right now? What would make me feel better than I do right now? I have been thinking the same thing over and over again for a solid week. And then the card that I actually pull shows me that that's not what I need, but I still keep thinking it every morning. So that is how persistent our goddamn ego is. But anyway, whatever you were just thinking of, I want you to go a bit deeper. I've started taking us a bit deeper into this the last few weeks, and I think it's a good exercise. So go a bit deeper and imagine that thing that you think will make you feel better. Imagine that it is happening right now. So you can close your eyes if that helps you, but just start to imagine it happening. Now, this is something that's making you feel better. So what does that feel like? Does it feel like, oh God, what a relief? Does it feel like, oh, I'm so excited? Does it feel like peace? Like, oh, finally. What is the feeling? So imagine that feeling a little bit more, and I want you to imagine what parts of your body feel those feelings. Is it in your stomach? Is it in your heart? Do you feel it in your, like a pressure in your head, like excitement? Do you feel your shoulders loosening, relaxing, a burden being lifted, relaxation flowing through your body? Just get into the feeling of the feeling better and imagining what it will feel like in your body to experience it. Okay. So the beauty of this exercise is that, number one, you've proven to yourself that you can generate the feelings you're seeking purely through your imagination, which means that the actual physical thing that you think you need to happen doesn't actually have to happen for you to get in the mindset or the feeling place of what it is that you desire. Now, those two things are key components of any of the law of whatevers that you follow. If you're law of attraction, the feelings are very important. If you're law of assumption, for some reason, you're very pissed off about the law of attraction and your thinking is the most important thing to me, that sounds like a war between the masculine and feminine energy. One of assumption, which is I will assume you and take action with my intellect to get you to conform to who I want you to be. And attraction, which is I will receive the feeling of what I want. And so for me, as a logical person who's been studying the law of polarity and the law of gender, although you're not thinking about that in the way that you're thinking about it, but masculine, feminine, etc. I think that the answer to the law of assumption and the law of attraction people is that y'all need to get together and have one belief system based on both things. And that moment that I just created for you is that thing. You thought you needed something. You imagined using your thoughts, you assumed, okay, this is what I will feel like when this happens to me. And then adding that layer of feeling it, that obviously you're feeling the emotions coming up from that, and you're feeling it in your physical body. So that is literally the way that you get into a place of manifesting the experiences you're seeking. Now, if you are doing it to get the outcome of the thing you thought would make you feel better, it will not work. If you are doing it to normalize the way it feels to think about what you want and receive what you want, then it will work, because you're not trying to get the outcome. You're trying to get to a place where you as a person feel like it's more normal to assume good things happen to you, to assume a state of receiving what you are seeking rather than not receiving it or losing it or whatever. You're changing your mindset, which helps you to change how you feel about how you look at the world, which helps you to attract the things that you desire. Like, it's all linked together. So it's a really powerful exercise. And the most powerful part of it is that the very first thing that you thought, I need this to make you feel better, you've literally just proven you don't. You got yourself to feel better for 15 seconds by thinking about what you want instead of what you don't want. So the thing in the physical that you think you need, you don't need it. Let's see what you actually need. All right, I can't get rid of this card lately, the Six of Pentacles. So whatever you thought, now sometimes your thoughts are very in alignment with your intuition, and you may have thought you needed what you actually need. But what you actually need is not like, oh, I need a physical meetup with the person. I need a direct communication from them. I need to be in celebration. I need to whatever. What you actually need is the sense that what you put in, you get back. Reciprocation is going to give you the feelings that you are just seeking. And obviously, reciprocation, you're thinking, well, I can't control how people give back to me. That's part of the problem. You do control how people give back to you, number one, by choosing who you give to. That's one of the biggest things that you can do to control how people give back to you. Making decisions about the type of people that you share your energy with. That's the first thing. The second thing is you're getting back what you put in all the time. Whatever thoughts you're putting in, you're getting back. So if you're thinking about a person as not being able to reciprocate, not being capable, not having enough to give you, whatever it is, or you don't have enough to give others, or whatever it is, that is the reciprocation of the universe. Your reality is reciprocating back to you what you're thinking and believing about it. So that's what you actually need right now to feel better. You need to understand the concept of reciprocation, how you function in it, and how who you choose to give to is the source of your pain and suffering. And you can say, well, I can't choose because this person, I just love this person. And okay, well, you can just love a person and create healthy boundaries for yourself because you just love yourself, even just a little bit more than you would love someone else. Because if you don't love yourself more or as much, at least, then you're going to end up with some codependent, really nasty, unhealthy relationship dynamics. All right. So somebody's asking, should we treat people the way they treat us? I would say for the most part, yes. And also acknowledging that you teach people how to treat you, right? So if somebody's treating you badly, in some way you've taught them to do that, or continuing to allow them to is teaching them that that's okay. And creating healthy boundaries is just when someone isn't treating you the way you want to be treated, then you remove yourself from, it's not a thing where you have to be like, listen, this is my boundary and you can't violate it. You have to be like, hey, this is a boundary I have, so I'm going to remove myself because you're crossing that boundary. And then it's up to them if they want to change how they behave with you, but it's really up to you to remove yourself from the person who's violating the boundary. Okay, let's take a look. Top of the deck, overall headspace for masculine energy today. We have the 10 of Wands. So the masculine energy is feeling really burdened. And for the divine feminine energy, we have the 3 of Wands. So basically what we're seeing, the burden is of having made the divine feminine wait for this future potential. And the feminine's mind is burdened by her heart space being willing to wait for the masculine. So this is how these readings are going to be totally different now. It's not just going to be like, I'm going to talk about masculine energy and then go over to the feminine. I'm going to talk about them at the same time and how they are actually related to one another. Hopefully to speed the reading along. I don't know if that's going to work. We're trying. Okay. So burdened, really burdened by making the feminine wait. The feminine's mind is burdened by having waited. And the masculine's heart is waiting also. So you both are burdened by this. Underlying all thoughts and decisions for the masculine, a lot of wands for the masculine today, even in his reading on TikTok, we have the Ace of Wands, and for the divine feminine, the Ace of Cups. Like, I can't make it up. So the headspace really, really wanting very passionately to give and receive this cup of love. The masculine in the energy of, I have this idea of really finally seeing this probably reciprocation, the reflection of the cup that I'm bringing. And divine feminine really in her mind desiring to hear the masculine's expression of love. The first thing that they are thinking about and feeling, we have here this Page of Cups, or I'm sorry, this first, the 5 of Cups is first energy. This is the headspace. So this is disappointment, depression, sadness. It can also be about optimism though. And then in the heart space, we have the Page of Cups. So there is disappointment on the part of the feminine energy here because, and this is what the masculine energy is thinking. The feminine is disappointed. She brought me this heartfelt offer, right? And I disappointed her in some way. I didn't return it. I didn't have a way to express it. I had other things to focus on and I couldn't focus on her. And the divine feminine is thinking, wow, I'm so disappointed because I have not heard an apology for what has happened. Again, this is how the energy works together. Currently, the divine masculine is very fixated, obsessed, focused, hyper-focused, and this potential for this awakening, which this is the Cupid and Psyche card from the Lover's Path Tarot. It is the Sun card in the deck. And this divine masculine is like obsessed, fixated, trying so hard to give divine feminine this happiness. It's like he's struggling with that addiction, on recognizing, awakening to the fact that this is an addiction for him, that it has become an obsession because of the deprivation that was created. I just did a spiritual nourishment tarot session yesterday at 4 p.m. We talked about the 6th principle of intuitive eating. And if you're interested in that type of information, every Sunday we focus on spiritual nourishment, including nourishing the body, etc. And the 6th principle is discovering the satisfaction factor. And one of the elements that's always present in deprivation mentality or diet mentality is the state of deprivation. It is literally deprivation mentality. And setting up this deprivation causes you to become fixated, addicted, and crave the thing that you're trying to avoid or resist. The masculine is realizing that trying to avoid this has turned this into an obsession. And he literally cannot rest until he makes himself happy. Now he's also aware that there is this part of himself that feels this anxiety and fear that he is like this very distorted character in the Game of Thrones. This is Ramsay Bolton, probably one of the most horrific villains I've ever read about before, much less watched on the film. But somebody who literally enjoys torturing others. And he's starting to question himself and ask, like, do I fucking enjoy this? Do I like doing this to the divine feminine? Like, is that a thing that just happened? And really, really fearing this part of himself. The divine feminine is also awakening to the potential that this divine masculine enjoyed torturing her to a certain extent. But it isn't so dark. It's much more her thinking he enjoyed the addiction. He enjoyed the sexual energy, the lust, the desire, the passion, the bondage even, but it was coming from this place of that's what he was used, that's how he is used to enjoying feminine energy in that way. So that's what's being currently dealt with. What comes from processing this current energy? This card won't die today. The Three of Swords. For the masculine energy and for the divine feminine, the Queen of Swords. Now this masculine is realizing, as he's awakened to his own demons, that he, truthfully, his lack of decision-making or the decisions he has made, choices he has made, have caused the divine feminine to now be in this energy of being much more, the Queen of Swords came up today in the divine masculine reading on TikTok, and it was the Game of Thrones tarot, and it was Cersei sitting on the Iron Throne as Queen Regent with all those swords behind her. It's almost as if she's lording over the 10 of Swords, kind of like it's way more than 10 swords, but there is that feeling, the way that the swords look. It's like she is lording over it. The betrayal that she experienced by men collectively. Cersei is not a likable character. So it's really easy to demonize her. But if you read those books and get a sense of what's really going on for Cersei, like, she is horrible. She's a horrible, horrible atrocity that was committed by her own father and all of the men in her life that have used her as a chess piece on a board and used her body, used her beauty, used her wealth, and continue to do that. And so she turns into this really poisonous, vicious person who is enjoying the suffering and pain of others because of the pain that was inflicted upon her. And you'll notice this bitch is a Cancer, 100%. I've heard a belief that she and Jamie were born like on the cusp, so that she's a Cancer and Jamie's a Leo, and like that makes so much sense because she is definitely the revenge, like for her children thing makes her horrible. It's like her wanting her children to be this, I don't know, it's just so clearly she's got that energy in her. But that idea that what creates this defensiveness in the divine feminine is the choices or lack thereof the masculine has made. So both of them are fully aware of this. Now, the thing about acknowledging what is wrong is that you can make it right. But if you're not acknowledging what's wrong, then you're just going to keep repeating that cycle again and again. So let's clarify now this past energy of the disappointment regarding giving and receiving true love, apologies, etc. Wow, the Sun again for the masculine, and wow, the 7 of Arrows for the feminine. So the only way to overcome this disappointment and sadness is to actually bring to light what was going on behind the scenes. Now, if you know the story of Cupid and Psyche, then the 7 of Arrows in regards to Psyche everything that she's doing is trying to get back to Cupid. And when she was trying to find out if he was trustworthy or not, she was doing it because she loved him and she wanted to make sure that he was who he said he was, right? So all of the things that went on behind the scenes, it was actually really all about the connection. It wasn't about like other motives. There wasn't anything else going on that was like, it's not like this masculine was trying to pull the wool over the feminine's eyes while he had this other family and did these other things like for fun. It's not like that. But the only way to overcome this disappointment, and the reason why it's been really difficult for the masculine, is that he has to fully bring to light what has been hidden here. He has to take off the mask. Everybody does. And it's the masking and hiding of his emotions that we're seeing, right? Literally his psyche. He has to reveal his psyche to the feminine. That's like so funny. Okay, so the current energy, that Ramsay Bolton, Devil, and Sun energy, Sun card energy, what is clarifying that? We are getting the King of Swords, who also will not die, and the Eight of Cups. Okay, so the masculine really had to be quite ruthless in dealing with this energy, this karmic energy, we'll call it, whatever it is, whether it's an addiction or a behavior, the resistance within himself, whatever it is, he's really had to be quite ruthless. He had to detach himself from the emotions that he was feeling and really leave behind what doesn't serve him. Because he is realizing that his emotional detachment from the feminine is what has caused the feminine to walk away from him, to leave him. And so he's really having to overcome this energy. Yes, this is a collective reading. We're almost done. The final cards clarifying the Three of Swords and the Queen of Swords energy here. We have the masculine with the Death card and the feminine with the Seven of Pentacles. So the end of this patiently waiting, just having these seeds and not actually being to tap into the abundance. For the masculine, he's seeing the divine feminine in a state of vengeance. He feels or thinks of her as having left him to get back at him, and for not having shared with her or for having been to take too long. The issue is the masculine is really not recognizing here that she didn't leave him because she was vengeful. She left him to take care of herself. She left him so she could actually nurture herself and in truth nurture this connection, because she couldn't nurture a connection while she was having to see a masculine destroy everything, all of their dreams, everything that she had hoped for. Sticking around while he was doing that was not helping her to be loving and nurturing towards the connection. She had to turn her back on that so that she could shift her thoughts and feelings about it so that she could see a different outcome. That is really what motivated her, what drove her into this energy of transformation. So this is the big misunderstanding between the masculine and feminine energy. And I want you to sort of take this moment, since this is the last position of the spread before I share our oracles, I just want you to take a moment and question yourself, or ask this question of yourself. In what way did I feel that giving up on something I was trying to create was done in vengeance? Like, for me, the best way I can describe this is like giving up on my music. I weaponize that to borrow that phrase from our culture. I weaponize that. I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to do my music. How do you like that, universe? How do you like that, parents who have been pressuring me to do music my whole life and then asking me to get a real job at the same time. How do you like that, divine masculine, who thinks I'm so gifted at music and wanted to share that with me? How do you like that? How do you like that, self? I'm just going to give up on, like, why would I do that? That's what I want to do. So, like, why would I try to emotionally manipulate myself to do music? Why wouldn't it just be something that's like, listen, I didn't stop doing my record and get in my car, pack it up, and drive across the East Coast because I wanted to give up on the connection. I stopped doing the record that I was doing from an unhealthy, fear-based place, packed all the stuff up in my car, drove across the country to get back to my family, who I hadn't seen in 5 years because I was so fixated on trying to get this music career off the ground, spend time with them, heal myself, go back and figure out why my inner child ass was doing all the crazy shit I was doing that wasn't helping myself to begin with, nurture myself, take care of the connection, figure out why I couldn't seem to get all these pieces to go into place so that I could actually do music. So those elements exist in the self, and it's up to you to go in and just try to figure this out for yourself. Why would I have done that? Why would I have ended or gave up on what I wanted to do? Was it just to get vengeance, or was it to give myself the space and time to get clarity about what I really want to do and who I really want to be? So ultimately, rebirth is assured once you have gone through that process of gaining clarity about your reasoning. So let's look at your final cards. To sum up this whole reading, this is the mindset that you really need to honor this week. This is not something you have been doing lately. And I really want you to think about how it's true that you may not have been doing this. But this says, I honor how I want to feel. You can also say this like, I honor how I want to feel. Because I think a lot of times we are honoring how others want to feel. I'm thinking about on my birthday, I was so concerned about how my mom felt so that there would be no drama. So I spent like a day that was really supposed to be about celebrating me, worried about how others felt. I wasn't honoring how I wanted to feel. So I want you to start thinking about all the time you're concerned about how your person is feeling about what you're doing or how you're dealing with their. What about how you want to feel? You need to honor how you want to feel. You might be thinking that that is selfish because that is something we are often told, that considering our own needs is selfish, but that's only a convenient message for, thank you so much for the gifts I'm seeing you sending. I do appreciate that. But that's really just a convenient message for somebody who is trying to maintain control and wants you to sacrifice everything so that they can have things. Like it's not really, doesn't really make sense for you not to honor how you feel. Your spirit animal message this week is Canary Spirit, sing your own song. And this is the protection message associated with this card. It is number 12. And it says, are you suppressing your true voice, perhaps trying to sing the song you think people want to hear instead of your own? You create a cage around your life when you express only what you think will help you fit in and get what you think you want. Are you hiding the real you, telling a safe story about yourself to others because you are afraid they will think you are too different if they knew the truth? Canary Spirit comes to help you express yourself in a more honest and authentic way. Yes, not everyone will agree with you. In fact, not everyone will want to hear your originality or accept your uniqueness. You must not give this a single care. There will be plenty of people, opportunities, and wonderful new experiences that arrive as if by magic once you open your own cage door and fly free. Canary Spirit is cheering for you and wants you to know you are safe and loved. Find your voice and have courage to spread your wings and sing out loud. The world needs your true song. All right, that is your message from your spirit animal oracles. And your final theme for this week is the Queen of Cups. So this is the energy of emotional mastery, the ability to navigate your emotions, to keep a lid on them when you need to open that lid and express them when it's appropriate. It's about your being psychic, being sensitive, being compassionate, kind, loving, and caring to the self so that you can be that for others and so that you can see that energy reflected back to you. But it's definitely, for me, about being able to swim comfortably, tread comfortably in the emotions, and still manage your kingdom. All right. So that concludes, it was only 30 minutes. It was only supposed to be 15, but we'll settle for 30. That concludes the Divine Tune-In for this week. If you were like, what? They used to be 2 hours long. I want to see 2 hours long readings. There's so many of them. You can literally go back for the last 2 years through my YouTube and gain access to all of those readings. So enjoy them. You can also book your own personal reading, which frankly makes a lot more sense if you want really deep messages that are applicable only to you and not just sort of a generic, like, how do I fit in this picture kind of a message. All of that information is below, is at the link below. And I hope that you all have a good day. I am going to go now over to TikTok. It's getting very dark in my room from the black clouds, thunder clouds that are rolling in right now, storm clouds. But I'm going to move over to TikTok now to do private and personal readings. If you are interested in that, head over to Pearl's Prayers. Otherwise, I will see you on Wednesday for the Origins of the Twin Flame Myth class. Have the best day, everyone. Take care.